Welcome to the deep dive. Trying to figure out health insurance, HDHPs, HSAs, catastrophic plans, it can feel a bit like stumbling around in the dark, right?
It really can. Very complex.
Well, today we're flipping the switch for you.
That's right. We're going to zero in on these really crucial shifts happening in health insurance, especially for 2025 and well beyond.
Yeah, because this stuff matters.
It does, because understanding these options, it's not just about your health coverage anymore, is it? It's really about your financial future, too.
Exactly. So our mission today is to, cut through all that noise, give you the clear insights you need so you feel, well, empowered to make the best choices for your situation.
Let's get into it.
All right. So high deductible health plans. HDHPs, we hear the term a lot, but what really sets them apart? I mean, beyond just having a big deductible.
Right. So at its core, an HDHP, it's a plan where you basically agree to cover more of your upfront medical costs yourself. That's the high deductible part.
Okay. Makes sense.
But in exchange, your monthly premium payments are lower. So the key thing really is that it shifts more of the initial financial risk from the insurance company over to you.
It's a trade-off. Simple as that.
It's a trade-off, yeah. And one a lot of people are looking at more closely these days, especially with premiums going up.
So, okay, let's put some numbers on it. What officially makes a plan an HDHP in 2025? What are those thresholds?
Sure. So for 2025, the IRS says an HDHP has to have a minimum deductible of $650 for an individual plan.
Okay.
And $3,300 for a family plan. And there's also a cap, an important one, on your total out-of-pocket spending for the year.
Right, the maximum you'd pay.
Exactly. That's $8,300 for an individual and $16,600 for a family in 2025. Once you hit that, the plan pays 100% for covered services.
Those deductibles, $6,650s, $300 minimum, they sound pretty significant. Who are these plans generally aimed at? Who finds them most beneficial?
Well, typically HDHPs are often a good fit for people who are generally healthy. They don't expect to need a lot of doctor visits or have ongoing expensive treatments.
Young folks, maybe.
Sometimes, yeah. Or maybe wealthier families who feel comfortable knowing they can cover that higher deductible if something unexpected happens. The structure itself kind of encourages you to be more mindful about healthcare costs.
Be a smarter shopper, so to speak.
In a way, yes. But there's a really important point about preventive care.
Right, because you hear high deductible and think you pay for everything first, but that's not quite right, is it?
No, not at all. And this is key. HDHPs cover routine preventive care. Things like annual checkups, screenings, blood pressure, depression, that sort of thing, immunizations. They cover those fully, often with no copay or coinsurance, even before you met that big deductible.
That's huge, so you don't have to skip your flu shot just because you have an HDHP.
Precisely. It's a vital feature, mandated by the ACA, actually.
Okay, this leads perfectly into the next piece, which often goes hand in hand with HDHPs. The health savings account, or HSA, these seem like a really big deal.
They absolutely are. HSAs are these special tax advantage savings accounts. And the crucial thing is, you can only open and contribute to one if you're enrolled in a qualified HDHP and don't have other disqualifying health coverage.
And they really took off after some legislation back in the early 2000s, right?
That's right. 2003 legislation really broadened their availability and made them the powerful tool they are today.
So tax advantaged, we hear that a lot.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean for someone putting money into an HSA? Like, how do the taxes work?
It's pretty unique, actually. It's what people call a triple tax advantage.
Triple. Okay, break that down.
Sure. First, the money you put in, whether it's you or maybe your employer contributing it, goes in pre-tax or tax deductible. So it lowers your taxable income for the year. That's benefit one.
Nice.
Second, any interest or investment earnings your HSA funds generate, that grows completely tax-free.
Like a Roth IRA, kind of.
Similar growth aspect, yeah.
Yeah.
And third, when you take money out to pay for qualified medical expenses,
Yeah.
those withdrawals are also completely tax-free.
Wow, okay. Tax-free in, tax-free growth, tax-free out for medical costs. That's pretty powerful.
It really is. There aren't many savings vehicles like it.
So what kind of medical expenses are we talking about? Can you use it for anything?
Well, qualified medical expenses is a pretty broad category defined by the IRS. It definitely includes paying your deductible, any copays or coinsurance you might have, but also things like prescriptions, dental visits, vision care glasses, contacts, even things like acupuncture or psychiatric care. Lots of things your insurance might not cover fully.
So it really helps manage that high deductible you signed up for with the HDHP, makes it less daunting.
Exactly. It acts as a bridge. But it's also different from, say, an FSA, a flexible spending account, which people might know from work.
Right, FSAs often have that use it or lose it rule, don't they?
They do, typically.
Yeah.
You have to spend the money within the plan year, maybe with the short grace period.
Right.
But with an HSA, any money you don't spend just stays there. It rolls over year after year, indefinitely. And you can even invest the funds once your balance reaches a certain level, depending on the HSA provider. So it becomes this long-term savings tool, even potentially for retirement medical expenses.
That's amazing. So it's not just for immediate costs, it's an investment.
It absolutely can be,
Okay.
especially, for wealthier families. It's another tax-advantaged way to save. And once you hit 65, the penalty for using it on non-medical things goes away. Though you'd still pay income tax, like a traditional IRA or 401k.
Okay, that's a huge plus. But are there any catches, any warnings people should heed?
Yes, there's definitely a warning. If you take money out of your HSA for something that's not a qualified medical expense before you turn 65,
Oh,
yeah, you'll owe regular income tax on that withdrawal, plus a hefty 20% penalty. So you really want to make sure you're using it for healthcare costs, at least until retirement age.
good to know. Keep it for health stuff to avoid that sting. Okay, so we have HDHPs, we have HSAs. But there's another category, right? These catastrophic plans. There's been some news about them lately.
Yes, catastrophic plans. They're sort of another step beyond HDHPs in a way. I think really low monthly premiums, but very high deductibles.
Even higher than HDHPs.
Typically, yes. The whole point of a catastrophic plan is really just to protect you from, well, catastrophe. A major accident, a serious illness that leads to massive medical bills. They offer the lowest premiums you'll generally find on the ACA marketplace.
But the trade-off is you're on the hook for even more initial costs.
Exactly. The deductible and out-of-pocket maximum are usually the highest allowed under the ACA for that year.
Okay. And what's this news about expanded access? Who could get these before and what's changing?
Right. So traditionally, catastrophic plans were pretty restricted. You generally had to be under 30 years old, or you had to qualify for what's called a hardship exemption. Maybe you were homeless, bankrupt, things like that.
Pretty limited pool then.
Very limited. But new guidance from CMS, that's the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, is changing that, effective for the 2026 plan year. So starting with open enrollment in late 2025.
Okay, what's the change?
They're making it easier to get that hardship exemption, specifically for people who find themselves ineligible for the subsidies that help pay for insurance, the premium tax credits and the cost-sharing reductions, or CSRs.
CSRs, those are the ones that lower your actual deductible and copays, right?
Correct. And this change particularly targets people who earn too much for CSRs, that's generally over 250% of the federal poverty level, but might still struggle with the full cost of premiums, especially if they also lose eligibility for the premium tax credits.
So why now? Why expand access to these bare bones plans?
Well, it seems directly tied to concerns about rising premiums. We're seeing projections, like from KFF, suggesting ACA premiums could jump significantly, maybe 20% on average for 2026.
Wow.
Yeah. And a big reason for that is the enhanced premium tax credits, the ones put in place during the pandemic, are set to expire at the end of this year, 2024.
Ah, so if those expire, more people lose subsidies, premiums feel even higher.
Exactly. So expanding catastrophic plan access is likely seen as providing a sort of safety valve, a lower premium option for people, especially those without subsidies, who might otherwise drop coverage completely because they can't afford it.
Makes sense. A less than ideal option is better than no option.
That seems to be the thinking.
And here's a key question. Can you pair a catastrophic plan with an HSA like you can with an HDHP?
That's another really significant recent change. Historically, no. Catastrophic plans didn't qualify you for an HSA. But this new legislation we mentioned, the Health and Financial Security Act, or HFSA,
You're right, the HFSA.
that bill specifically changed the rules. Now, people enrolled in catastrophic plans are eligible to open and contribute to an HSA.
That's a game changer for those plans. It adds that powerful savings tool.
It absolutely is. So for 2026, if you're on a catastrophic plan, you could potentially contribute, $400 for self-only, or $8,750 for family coverage into an HSA, tax advantage.
That makes catastrophic plans potentially much more attractive, despite the high deductible. But what are the catches? Any specific limitations to be aware of with these plans?
There are. The big one, besides the very high deductible, is that they typically only cover 3 primary care visits per year before you meet that deductible. After those 3 visits, you're paying the full allowed cost until the deductible is met.
Only 3 visits. Okay, that's pretty limited.
It is. But it's crucial to remember they still have to cover the ACA's 10 essential health benefits. That includes preventive care with no cost sharing, emergency services, hospitalization, prescription drugs eventually. All the core stuff is covered after you hit that very high deductible.
Got it. So basic checkups are limited pre-deductible, but emergencies and major stuff are covered post-deductible.
That's the structure.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We mentioned this Health and Financial Security Act, the HFSA. It sounds like it's doing more than just enabling HSAs for catastrophic plans. How is this law and maybe other recent policy shifts reshaping the bigger picture for healthcare access and affordability, especially on the ACA marketplace?
Yeah, this raises some pretty significant questions about the overall direction. The HFSA makes some major changes to the Affordable Care Act, and the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, they estimate these changes will lead to about 10.9 million fewer people having health insurance by 2034.
Wow, nearly 11 million people losing coverage. That's stark. Where are those losses expected to come from?
A big chunk is related to the ACA marketplace changes. It seems to reflect a broader policy direction, maybe pushing more towards individual responsibility, consumer-driven healthcare, expanding access to higher deductible plans while also tightening the rules around subsidies.
Okay, so what are the specific changes in the HFSA or related policies that people really need to have on their radar? What's going to impact your ability to get or keep affordable coverage?
There are several key things. First, as we touched on, those enhanced premium tax credits. They expire end of this year, December 31st, 2024. That alone, the CBO figures, could mean 4.2 million people lose coverage over the next decade because it just becomes too expensive without that extra help.
That's a huge number just from the subsidy change.
It is. Second, starting December 31st, 2027, if you get subsidies, you'll need to actively verify your income and family details every single year. No more automatic re-enrollment for most subsidized folks. You'll have to proactively prove you still qualify.
Some more paperwork, more hurdles.
Potentially, yes. Third, the rules about repaying subsidies are getting stricter. Right now, there are caps on how much you have to repay if your income ends up higher than you estimated. After this year, those caps are gone. If you got too much subsidy, you'll owe it all back at tax time.
Ouch. So you need to be really careful estimating your income.
Absolutely. Keep your marketplace application updated. Fourth, there's a change to special enrollment periods. Starting next year, if you qualify for special enrollment only because your income changed, you won't be eligible for subsidies during that period. You'd have to wait for open enrollment or have another qualifying event, like losing job-based coverage or getting married.
That closes a potential loophole, maybe?
Perhaps. And there are other changes, too, affecting eligibility for some legal immigrants and linking ACA subsidy eligibility to new Medicaid work requirements down the line. Plus, separately, a new rule is shortening the annual open enrollment window itself from about 2.5 months down to just 6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's a much tighter time frame to review options and enroll.
It really is. Lots of changes converging.
And with people potentially dropping coverage because of lost subsidies or these new rules, what does that mean for the premiums for everyone else who stays in the market?
Well, the concern is that as the pool of insured people shrinks and potentially gets less healthy on average if healthier people drop out, insurers will likely have to raise premiums for everybody who remains, just to cover the costs. It could create a bit of a spiral.
So higher costs potentially for those who stick with it. But let's circle back to that positive point we raised earlier amidst all these changes.
Right, the bright spot. The HFSA specifically removed some of the old restrictive language around high deductible plans.
Meaning
Now, all bronze plans, and as we discussed, catastrophic plans sold in the ACA marketplace, are automatically eligible to be paired with a health savings account.
So it's not just some bronze plans anymore, it's all of them.
That's the effect of the new law. It dramatically expands who can open and use an HSA, pushing it down into the lower premium plan tiers.
Okay, so putting it all together, with premiums rising, subsidies changing, enrollment windows shrinking, but HSA access broadening, how do you, the listener, decide what's right? Who are HDHPs and catastrophic plans really best for in this new landscape?
It really comes down to your health and your finances. HDHPs, especially now paired with HSAs, are still generally best for people who are healthy, don't expect major medical needs, maybe primarily use preventive care, or for those who have the financial cushion to handle that high deductible if needed and want to maximize those HSA tax benefits for long-term savings.
Okay. and catastrophic.
Catastrophic plans are really for two main groups now, I'd say. Young, very healthy individuals who want that low premium and protection against worst-case scenarios, and now they get the HSA option too. Or perhaps people facing real financial hardship who simply can't afford more coverage but need that safety net. And again, the HSA makes it a bit more manageable.
And the biggest downsides to keep front of mind for both.
It's that upfront financial exposure, the high
Huh.
deductibles. A sudden illness or accident could mean thousands of dollars out of pocket before your insurance really starts paying significantly.
And that's tough for a lot of people.
It is. We know about half of U.S. adults already report difficulty affording health care. So taking on a high deductible is a calculated risk. And for catastrophic, remember that limit of only 3 primary care visits before the deductible applies.
Right. Got to factor that in.
Yeah.
So given all this, what are the concrete steps people can take now to get ready for these changes and make smart choices?
Okay, practical steps. First, really understand these new rules. Get clear on the income verification, the subsidy changes, that shorter 6-week enrollment window coming up. Forewarned is forearmed.
Know the new landscape.
Exactly. Second, if you get subsidies now, be diligent about updating your income estimate with the marketplace throughout the year. Avoid that nasty surprise tax bill if your income goes up.
Good advice.
Third, don't just look at the marketplace. Check out all your options. Does your employer offer a plan? Your spouse's employer? Understand the costs, coverage, enrollment periods for those two. Have a plan B, maybe.
Explore everything.
Fourth, prepare for potentially higher costs. If you're eligible, seriously consider opening and funding that HSA or an FSA if that's what's available to you. Save pre-tax for those medical bills. Also, use preventive care, ask about generic drugs, look for prescription discount cards. Be proactive about managing expenses.
Little things add up.
They do. And finally, compare plans carefully. Especially if you do qualify for subsidies, don't automatically assume catastrophic is best just because the premium is lowest. A bronze or even silver plan, with the help of tax credits and maybe cost-sharing reductions, might actually offer you better overall value and protection. Read the fine print. Always.
Excellent advice. Do the math for your own situation.
You have to.
Well, we have certainly taken a deep dive today. HDHPs, HSAs, catastrophic plans, the HFSA. It's a lot to digest, but really crucial information as we head towards 2025 and beyond. It's clear navigating this requires more attention than ever.
It really does. And understanding these nuances, the trade-offs, the benefits like HSAs, the new rules, that's what empowers you to make a choice that genuinely fits your health needs and your budget. It's not just about picking the lowest premium.
And that expanded HSA access for bronze and catastrophic plans. That really does feel like it opens up new ways for more people to manage healthcare costs strategically.
It does, and it raises a really interesting question, actually, for the future.
Oh,
Yeah. As HSAs become available and potentially used by people across a much wider range of plans and income levels, how might that fundamentally shift how individuals think about budget for and spend on healthcare over the long term? Will it change saving habits? Will it impact how people interact with the healthcare system?
that's definitely something to think about. How will broader HSA use reshape our relationship with healthcare costs?
Exactly. Something to mull over.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Lots to consider as you plan your next steps.